Hello, this is a thumbnail demo. As you can see, the thumbnails on the right are the usual mealy pencil line drawing thumbnails that I often see and sometimes do myself. It's good for describing, sort of fishing around for ideas, but really not that dynamic in terms of light and shape. On the left, we have a similar strategy to what was just done in assignment number two, where you had to think in terms of three very clearly specific values, and that's all you had to work with. And you had to make the narrative work, and you're copying, so you're not having to think in terms of composition yourself as much. I want to demo how to do on the left side. I call it sort of XY thumbnailing. It's you're going back between black and white at first in order to come up with a composition without really thinking or worrying about it too much. So what I'm going to do is just do some chaser ants there. And I like to get kind of a hard edged brush, and I'll just lay down a border. For the style I'm looking for, I don't want a straight line. So, and you see the reason you border it is you can take your chaser ants off later on and do easy fills with the gray. So what I'd like to do is make the brush fairly large, and I'm going to have something in mind. Let's say I'm going to do the trailer park, the Desert Air Trailer Park, which is one of the descriptors. Part of me is thinking, having the sign up here kind of coming in like this, and then maybe a tilted horizon line like that. And then maybe there's some, trailers here sort of going back in perspective. Um, And basically, I'm not worrying a huge amount about, um, whether things are, clean or clear or whatever. I'm in some ways, I'm kind of doing the opposite of that. I'm trying to create more dynamism with overt shapes and stuff, and even, okay, now I'm gonna go. Whoops. Okay, I'm back. Now I'm going to go much faster speed. As you can see, the only thing I'm really concerned with is big shapes, light, a concept like, oh, I've got my angled horizon line, I've got a kind of perspective that I'm working with. I thought of putting buttes in the back just as a kind of a visual element. I'm not worrying about overt details. It's more just kind of the overall feeling. And it's not so much about line as it is just getting shapes to work. I am using line, but every time I'm doing line, I'm also thinking in terms of light. I'm drawing a white line. Is that light hitting it? Is it light from the sky? Is it light from the lit sign? Or is it, are there interior lights? And I think that if when you're thumbnailing, if you really think in terms of light, it helps a ton rather than just thinking in terms of constructing forms and objects. And I know that you really emphasize that heavily in Art 101, especially in 120. You have to be precisely forms. But when it comes to doing environments, composition, light, and narrative are your three big ones. And then, of course, perspective as well, knowing where your horizon line is. Right now, I've got my major composition kind of already done, and we're two-thirds through the video, and this is sped up. The rest is just tooling around. I'm starting to get details in that are going to help enhance the narrative. I'm going to put some lettering in the sign. I'm going to do something with the sky. I'm going to probably put someone in that open doorway all the way in the lower left-hand area. So just to get a little more sense of what's going on. Again, this is a thumbnail. I'm not taking it to prototype level. I'm just trying to get how is everything working? Is it telling a story? That's the idea. It's everything I'm adding now is just trying to enhance that sensibility. What else could I do with this? I could have some sense of light sources, like maybe there's lights on the trailer. Just right now, this is a generalized light source. Where's the light coming from? That could help it. I could have another kind of automobile or headlights coming from lower right, saying that a car is coming up to the trailer park, which I believe is in the description. That could be dealt with as well. Something like this, it communicates a lot quickly, fairly quickly. I mean, this took me like 20 minutes almost, so it's not that quick really. But I think the impact is big. I know that you can spend 20 minutes on a thumbnail and have something that's hardly reading at all. This is stronger in terms of its dynamism and its commitment to shapes and to light specifically. I'd like you to try this method out in the thumbnailing process. I want at least two of the thumbnails to be with pretty much a 3 value. I did use a gradient in there, but like just black, white, and then a gray. Final comment, if you handed in this thumbnail like the one I just did, I'd probably tell you, well, I think you could show more of the road as it coming at us and a little bit more of the sign. So be prepared and think about expanding your ratios in order to strengthen your composition. All right.